Knowing your personal style can help you curate your closet to one that you love, because once you know what style you're drawn to and what you feel great in, then those are the elements, those are the pieces that you're going to be bringing into your closet. And you're going to be making less shopping mistakes. Now, something to keep in mind is that your personal style can evolve, it can change, it's fluid, and sometimes it doesn't fit into one of these categories I'm going to share today. It can be several. Like, my style feels classic and edgy, but also feminine. And that's evolved over time as I've gotten older, as I've become a mom. So your personal style, or the style you're evolving into, may be 2 or 3 of these that I'm going to share today. The 9 types of clothing styles that I'm sharing in today's video are the ones that I have found to be the most universal among women. Starting with bohemian, or boho style for short. I like to think of this as the California vibe, that seemingly effortless yet somewhat trendy and actually well thought out, put together looks. Some of the things that define boho style are flowy skirts with prints on them, and a lot of times it'll be floppy hats or cool sandals or Western type ankle booties. It's a very Coachella type vibe. Another thing that defines boho style is fringe. So there's usually a lot of fringe going on, maybe on a bag, or it could be on a jacket or something like that. But fringe is definitely one of those details that feels very boho. And also gold or silver rimmed sunglasses can sometimes be identified with this type of style. Gladiator sandals, denim shorts that are fringe. Typically the preferred style of jean is a bell bottom, and there's usually, layers of beaded necklaces or leather necklaces, but there's some kind of long layers kind of going on as well. Dress styles, again, tend to be flowy and long, maxi dresses, and there's usually prints going on. And boho style feels a little bit more colorful, but also like those earth tone colors. I also think a Western style ankle boot feels very bohemian, especially with denim shorts or dresses, or just something, again, just really easy and effortless. I feel like a lot of the fabrics they use is suede or cotton or denim in their clothes and also in their shoes, and it just feels very like earthy. The next type of clothing style is classic. So this is where you're drawn to more timeless pieces that will last. It's not about trends, it's about higher quality fabrics, nicer cottons, silks, just really beautiful pieces that are constructed well, that are tailored to your body, that are fitted, and there's usually no prints going on, or very minimal prints. The colors are typically solid or neutrals. A lot of times you'll see monochrome looks that are just very classic and streamlined. Also, there's not a lot of fussiness to it. There's not a lot of embellishments. Usually if, jewelry and accessory is more minimal. The colors also gravitate more towards neutral solids like navy, black, gray, ivory, cream, camel, white. A lot of times you'll see structured blazers or structured pieces that really are just tailored and well-fitting. Classic style feels more elegant. There's more structure to the outfits. If something is flowy, it's oftentimes paired with something more structured like a blazer. If your style is classic and you're incorporating some trends, the trends are usually ones that are pretty minimal and they're neutral colors. There's not a lot of fuss going on with them. Classic style can sometimes do one statement piece or one trend item, but everything else stays really streamlined and fitted and timeless. The next type of clothing style is preppy. So some of the things that define preppy style is a white collar. So it could be a white classic button down, but it could also be a white collar peeking out from a dress. A lot of times a preppy style, they'll wear more of a cotton, kind of a structured button down underneath a blazer or a jacket. There's also certain patterns that are associated with preppy style. So sometimes you'll see hearts on sweaters, or you'll see the really general universal preppy one is navy and cream stripes. That could be on sweaters or t-shirts, but that is something that you see a lot in preppy style. I also think of preppy style as wearing easy shoes, something like Tom's you can just slip on, and worn with a white classic button-down shirt. Feels very preppy to me. And then also, or a ballet flat. A ballet flat's another big preppy shoe, especially if it's just a rounded toe and it has a little bow. There's these feminine details, but it's not quite feminine style because there's still a little boyish. It feels a little bit tomboyish. And again, here we see wearing a button down under a sweater, which again is just that quintessential preppy kind of style and vibe. Where a long, flowy maxi skirt feels more bohemian style and a tailored pencil skirt feels more classic style, For preppy style, it's more like the circle skirt. It's a little bit shorter. There's some structure to it, but it's not tailored or fitted to the body. And again, here we'll see a structured jacket, but it has stripes. So it has those navy and cream stripes to kind of really just make it feel a little bit more preppy with the collar on the outside of the jacket. The next clothing style is feminine. So this is where you see some more details like florals, pastels, or softer colors like pinks and lavenders. And you'll also see fabrics like lace or silk, things that are more fluid and flowy. Sometimes you might see like a floral or a lace skirt paired with something more structured, but typically whatever the pieces are, you're not seeing dark colors, you're not seeing a lot of blacks or navies. It's more, again, like the softer tones, the softer colors. And a feminine clothing style type also, it's someone that tends to wear more dresses and skirts. And someone that has feminine style, you're not going to see them wear clunky shoes or shoes that have a platform or feel at all like a masculine type shoe. It's shoes that are more just kind of simple and sleek and just very more feminine. And also the feminine type, as you'll see, there's lots of florals typically. Sometimes there's ruffles. Again, it's those girl-like details. And again, where boho style is more, you see more of the maxi dresses or the long flowy skirts. And with classic style, you see more of like a fitted pencil skirt or something more tailored. With feminine style, it's somewhere in between. They're usually not super long, but it could be like an A-line skirt. The silhouettes are definitely more tailored to the body, but with a little bit more flow, a little bit more fabric than you would see with the classic style. And also you might see pairing something soft and fluid, like this skirt that has kind of this feather detail in this soft gray color, with something a little bit more structured, like this knit sweater, but it's also a soft knit. It's not something like you saw in the preppy style where it's a button-down shirt that has a lot of structure to it. It's like a cotton. It's more of a softer fabric. It's a whole softer feel. The next style type is androgynous. So this is traditionally we would call kind of more masculine, but it's when your details of your outfits feel more masculine. So the blazers aren't fitted, they're a little bit more oversized, but they're oversized, but not wearing them with a dress, which is something you might see kind of in a more trendy style. Where like feminine style, you tend to see a lot of skirts and dresses. With more of an androgynous style, you see a lot of traditionally menswear pieces, like button-down shirts, but in a menswear fit, and blazers worn with a pair of slacks or dress pants. In general, it's also wearing solid colors in some more of the darker tones, like blacks and navies and dark charcoal grays. That kind of, again, tends to feel more masculine. And again, if you just think of how we just saw the feminine style, where you see more of the, more traditional feminine colors, where it's like the pinks and the lavenders and the softer colors, with the androgynous style, you do tend to see a lot of the darker colors. And also when it comes to fits and silhouettes, things are not as tailored, they're not as fitted. The shape of the body isn't really defined in androgynous style. And a lot of the menswear inspired pieces tend to have more structure to them. And also shoes tend to be more of a masculine style, like a loafer or something that's a little bit more heavier on the bottom. So there's not those feminine soft details. It's more of a traditionally masculine style. And the next style type is edgy. So this is where you'll see a lot of leather or faux leather. There's kind of a cool factor. A lot of it's usually black. You'll see, some embellished details and some kind of rock and roll vibes. So something that'll make something unexpected and feel just a little bit tough. Sometimes you'll see pairings with like a cool band tee and maybe a cool pair of ankle boots. But the silhouettes, they tend to be more fitted. They're not flowy like feminine style or boho style, but they're also not oversized at all either. I feel like the quintessential edgy outfit is a black leather moto jacket styled with a pair of cool black ankle boots. I just feel like that screams edgy to me. And when it comes to jewelry for edgy style, I feel like most of it tends to be minimal, but then there'll be one statement piece that'll be just a little bit chunky or a little bit heavier, like this necklace here. And again, you typically tend to see mostly solids, darker colors, blacks, sometimes, whites as well, but it's those edgy pieces. And when you do see a print, it tends to be something like a band tee or something a little bit more edgy like that. But there's kind of just a cool it girl factor that goes with edgy style. The next style type is trendy. So this is someone that loves wearing all the latest trends, sometimes all together, and their style is drawn to what's the latest trend, what's happening right now in fashion, and I'm definitely gonna wear that whether it works for me or not. So this is a style type that really just loves wearing the trends, the newest trends, the hottest trends, what's out. The focus is more on what is in now in fashion than what's gonna work long term. So sometimes you'll see things like a paper bag waist that is on trend right now, or you'll see something like head to toe denim, which is also really on trend right now, but it can also be done in a more classic way. But a trend type will do a trend like denim on denim, but they'll incorporate it in a way that is more trendy. So it's a cropped denim shirt, a cropped denim jacket, oversized denim jeans versus a more classic silhouette. So you might see something more like oversized blazers for somebody that tends to go towards more of a trendy style versus some of the more classic silhouettes. Another thing with someone who is drawn to trendy style, it's you're kind of going with the colors of the season. So whatever colors are in, you're finding pieces in that color. Whether or not you love that color, whether or not that color looks good on you, that's kind of an afterthought. It's really what's the hot color right now, and I'm going to incorporate that into my style. And where someone with a classic style or edgy style, maybe they'll have one statement piece, one item that kind of draws you into the look while everything else is minimal and classic. Somebody with trendy style, they'll sometimes mix all the trends together into an outfit. So it could be something like this with a crop top and oversized jeans and a pair of like chunky sneakers and an oversized jacket. The next clothing style is minimal. So this is someone who their style is super unfussy. They want to look put together, but they don't want it to be work. They want to have really easy pieces, natural fabrics, cottons, silks, wools, just really effortless pieces without a lot of fuss. The accessories tend to be minimal and nothing really is overstated about their look. The colors tend to be neutrals and just solid. We don't see a lot of prints or patterns with someone with minimal style. And this is really where you see the foundation of a capsule wardrobe. So this is like your essential basics, the quality basics, but they kind of stop there. Someone with minimal style will stop at just having that foundation, those quality basics that are effortless and easy that they can mix and match, but then they don't add other pieces to their wardrobe or their style. It's just very effortless and unfussy. You don't really see a lot of details either. There's not ruffles or any other, lace or anything like that for someone that has minimal style. It's not like androgynous style where you stay away from showing the body shape, because you can definitely bring the waist in some looks, but it's not about wearing things that are super fitted, but it's also not about wearing things that are oversized. It's just wearing pieces that are easy, that fit well, that look good, but there's nothing fussy about it at all. Silhouettes are also not as flowy as more feminine style or a boho style. The silhouettes, even though they might wear dresses there or skirts, they're just effortless. They just lay on the body. There's not a lot of details going on. And the few times you do see any kind of print, it's something geometric or something that's just very simple and just like one element in the whole outfit. And like we saw earlier, with someone with preppy style, where they'll wear a white button-down shirt that's cotton, but it has a lot of structure to it. It has a heavier weight to it. Someone with a more minimal style, they'll also wear a white button-down shirt, but it's softer. It's like a soft cotton or a linen, where somebody with a classic style might have a white button-down shirt that's more of a silk, that's more of a luxurious kind of fabric. The minimal is like just natural fabrics, natural feel, and just easy style. The next type of clothing style is a vintage personal style. So this is someone that really likes to incorporate pieces from another time period into their outfits, into their looks. Maybe they thrift at vintage places to find, pieces like cool leather jackets, or sometimes they're finding pieces that are new and in stores, but that they're based on older styles. So here's a great example with this pleather black leather jacket, where it's long and it feels kind of 70s inspired, and there's platforms going on, so it just feels like a very 70s inspired look. Also, the silhouettes feel more from a different time period. So they'll be like dress pants, but they are more of a vintage style silhouette. It's a silhouette from the 70s or even the 80s is also considered vintage, but it's just a different kind of silhouette. And the fabrics are different. So you'll still see fabrics that they used to use from different time periods that we don't see as much today. So these pants, for example, are a very vintage inspired pair of pants, and they're paired with this leather jacket. Again, it's a moto jacket, which we saw earlier when I was talking about edgy style. But this moto jacket, it's a little bit more oversized, but you can tell by the leather and the feel of the jacket, it feels more vintage. It doesn't feel current or modern, but it's made really cool by the style. It's very intentional. It's bringing in these vintage pieces intentionally into your outfits. And sometimes somebody that has a vintage style or one of the elements of their style being vintage inspired, it's not that they're wearing head to toe vintage. Sometimes they will, but sometimes it's just incorporating one vintage piece into their look and wearing it with something that maybe is more modern, like a sneaker and a dress. Like that's something that we're seeing and we've been seeing for a while now that's very modern, but it's this dress feels much more retro. It feels from a different time period. But because of the pairing of kind of the more modern style with the sneakers, it also feels very fresh and intentional. You'll also see prints a lot with vintage styles. It doesn't just need to be solids, but I feel like a printed shirt, like a lot of times it's abstract patterns, or sometimes you'll see a lot of, these colors that feel kind of older colors, like the rusts and the navies, and the colors that are associated more with a different time period. I also feel like accessories play a big role with vintage style. So maybe it's having a purse that feels from a different time period, that feels vintage, and incorporating that into your look. That one element alone can completely give a feel of a look to be more vintage inspired. And sometimes it can be something that's on trend, like a jumpsuit, but doing it with fabrics and patterns or prints and colors that are more associated with a vintage time period. Like this jumpsuit here, the colors of the mustard and the rust, it's from a different time period. It's not like the colors that are more either neutrals that you see in a more classic style or feminine colors like pinks. It's more colors that are from a different time period. And then because the silhouette, even though it's a jumpsuit, it's not like the silhouette of the jumpsuits that we see today that are more modern, but it's a more of a jumpsuit that feels like this could have really just come out of the 60s or the 70s. You might see something super simple like a white tank that can really work in pretty much all of these different styles, but it's the way the white tank is styled. So here it's styled with a pair of, I believe they're denim, but it's this, vertical stripe denim in these colors again, that mustard, that rust, there's that burgundy, and in a style that is very much from a different time period. And it doesn't feel dated because it's intentional. This is someone that loves that vintage inspiration in their looks. They love incorporating pieces from another period or pieces that resemble another period with some more modern pieces to create their style. So one thing I always recommend to my clients when they're trying to figure out what their personal style is to go in their closet, look at what their favorite pieces are. What are the pieces in your closet that you're wearing again and again and again that you're drawn to, whether it's the color, the style, the silhouette, is there a pattern, is it a solid? And look at those pieces very closely. Look at those pieces through the lens of the 9 style types we just went through and see what your personal style is. Which one or several of these really resonate with you and feel like either the style that you have or the style that you're moving towards. And that's what you're going to start to use to make your decisions. When you're editing your closet, look at the pieces that you're not wearing as much. What style are those pieces so that you know that's not a style you're drawn to anymore. And again, in the same way, think of the pieces that you do love and you do wear and you do feel great in. What style are those pieces? Those are the kinds of pieces you want to bring more of into your closet. And that's what's going to help you define your personal style and feel great in your clothes. For more in helping define your personal style, watch this next video here where I share 6 really simple tips to help you find your style. If you're not subscribed here and you learned something in today's video, if this was helpful to you, go ahead and click that subscribe button for new videos every Thursday. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.